Hi, I'm Jennifer Ackerman Haywood from craftsanity.com, and today I'm going to show you how to use the new Craft Sanity Kindred triangle loom. And this is for making those buntings, those fun banners that you can hang up on the wall or decorate a kid's birthday or your studio, whatever you want to do. And we're going to show you how to make these, and then we're going to assemble it, and you'll get to see the whole thing. So the first thing I want to direct you to is yarn choices. What I really like about this project is you do not need to use fancy yarn. In fact, I recommend that you don't use fancy yarn. You certainly can. If you have a lot of hand spun sitting around, by all means make yourself a really awesome banner. But what I like about this project is since you're not going to be wearing the yarn, it doesn't matter if it's scratchy, it doesn't matter if it's, you know, something you got at a garage sale, it just doesn't matter. What I recommend is that you can take the skein and roll it. If you have a ball winder, rolling it into balls will help you because then you won't have to wrestle with it trying to find the end. Not a big deal. I'm going to use a skein for part of the project, so it's not a big deal. But if you want to get some use out of that ball winder and justify the purchase to your significant other that you just had to have it, roll a bunch of balls and get ready to do this project. So we're going to get started. Okay, so we are ready to get started with our weaving, and I have a double strand of worsted weight yarn here, and I'm going to make a slip knot to start things off. That's I just wrap around my fingers, pull the yarn through, and then you make it into a small loop to fit right around this first peg. And then we're going to wrap the yarn around every peg. Okay, so when you get down to the bottom, I'm going to go around that end peg, come around to this end peg, and then we're going to go over the first, under this grouping of 4, and around the peg with the black dot on it. Okay, then we're going to go around the next peg, go under, over, go under here, and then I could go under this one here and wrap around, and I've done that before where you go under here and you wrap around and then you go over this, but it starts to look kind of messy, so don't waste the energy. Just we're skipping this one because it doesn't have a black dot on it. These along the bottom edge, you only are going to go on pegs that have black dots. You skip all the other ones. So we're coming up here. We're just going to go straight to the peg. So don't worry about trying to go under anything. We're just going to go straight to it. Okay, so we're going to go over the first two strands, under the 4, over the next 4, under the next 4, then over and under, and then right around that peg right there. And then we're going to keep doing this, reversing the over, under, and under, over patterns until we fill the whole loom up with yarn. You can use a crochet hook to do this part if you want. I'm kind of in the habit of picking things up with my fingers, but do what works for you. It looks like a pretty loose weave, but when you take it off the loom, things will spring in and you'll end up with a much tighter weave. And you'll know you're on the right track because I have 3 pegs here that I have to go around, and I have 3 up here. So you know when you get to this black peg, you're to the halfway point, and that's going to correspond with that peg at the top. The first time you do this, it's going to seem like kind of a mind bender. It was like that for me too. You just got to get used to the system. Or really not the system, the pattern. And so you'll notice that on this side of the loom, when I'm doing the weaving pattern, it does work out that I am weaving all the way up to that peg and then putting the yarn around the peg. Like you'll see right here. So I'm going to come up right before the peg. I think the mosquitoes are distracting me a little bit here. Okay, so I just cut the yarn off, and I wanted it to go beyond. It's going from here, and I'm going to weave it through. Like all my other looms, I have that a thinner strand here at the end, where this was only 2. Everything else is woven in a group of 4, so I'm going to make this into a group of 4 too. You could leave it as it is, but I like to give things a more symmetrical feel. Just weaving this along, following that same weave pattern. And it's going to help the triangle hold its shape a little bit there at the top. Now we're ready to take the little flag here off the loom. And the way we're going to do that is come in here. We're going to start where the yarn tie is, or the little yarn tail. We're going to come in, take that first loop off, grab the second one, pull it through the first, and just continue like this all around the loom. Now when you start going up the side, you're going to come across pegs that have 2 loops like this one. There are 2 loops on there. We're going to go through both, pull them up, and bring them through that one on the hook. Pull up the next one, pull it through. So whatever's on the peg, we're going to finish it off together. Okay, so now we're down to our last loop. And what I'm going to do is kind of come in here on the corner of the triangle and pull through the loop, and then do a little slip stitch there. And then you can kind of stretch things out. And first thing I'll do is weave this end in, and I follow the weave structure and pull that yarn through. You don't want to pull it too tight, because you don't want to be like this and have it all shriveled up. So, and if you do pull it too far, that's okay. Just pull it out and do it a little bit looser. Okay, now that the weaving is done, and I have a pile of flags here that I want to connect, I'm going to start by doing a little crocheting. I'm just going to do a chain. I'm going to again do that slip stitch that we did at the beginning to start this whole project. And I'm going to just chain for a little bit. You want to go probably about a foot, but you can decide. You just, I use thumbtacks a lot of times to connect the banners to, if I'm hanging it up on a wall. But if you're planning to tie it to something, like for instance at a craft booth or an art fair, you need to be able to have enough to tie around a post. So that's where this comes in. And you also could use 4 strands together if you wanted to make it thicker and use a bigger hook. So experiment with what you like. Never quite agree with that. Okay, we're good. That didn't take too long. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is I kind of look at this and decide what's the front and what's the back, and there really is no rhyme or reason here. Just if I can see the ends and anything hanging out in the back, I'll say, oh, that's the back, but usually when I hang it up, I don't know. The front or the back doesn't matter. Okay, so I have my chain, and then I'm going to just start connecting by just going into the corner and pulling up a stitch, and then going through both. And then I'm just going to keep doing that all across the top. So I'm just doing a single crochet stitch across the top. And if you don't crochet and you're like, okay, I'm doing this weaving stuff, I really don't want to do a lot of crocheting, you also could get some bias tape and sandwich your flag in between and sew it. So you can do that too. I'm just using all yarn but you can certainly combine whatever skills you're most comfortable with. You don't want to pull too tight, so you want to make sure that you're keeping your tension loose. In between each flag, I'm going to do, I think I'll do like 4 stitches. Maybe I'll do 5. I'll do 5 stitches in between. But you can decide how much space you want between each flag. And then what you do is come in here and get your next one. And again, I'm just going to go right in that corner. Pull up a stitch. I'm going through 2, and then I'm going to continue to just do single crochet across the top. And I see this like little, I want to catch that in there too. I think it's going to make it look a little more finished. So, with all the crazy stuff going on in the world today, being able to weave a banner brings me a lot of joy. Okay, I'm going to keep working on this, but as you can see, it's a quick and fun project that I hope you enjoy.